Welcome back to the Dear Andy podcast. I am your host, Abby, coming to you live from my dining table in the heart of Los Angeles. This is episode 4, all about my relationship with men. Welcome back to the Dear Andy podcast. This is episode 4, all about my relationship with men. So let's get right to it. So, before I was sexually assaulted, my days were mainly spent on Tinder. I had been so crushed by the love that never happened. And I was just kind of looking for anything that would give me that attention that I wanted / needed. Because I was so in my feelings about why couldn't I get this one guy to see me in this light? I have so many dude friends, I don't need any more. I'm looking for a partner now. And I was so crushed by that, and so I was just that guy, the love that never happened, was the guy I wanted to lose my virginity to. It was the guy that I wanted to be the first real boyfriend that I had, and it just didn't work out. So, I spent most of my days on Tinder. I was going out on dates left and right. I was just meeting up with dudes. I really didn't care about anything but getting some, pretty much. I was in this, phase where I was the only thing I need from you is attention. Give it to me. And so at some point, I was in this exclusive physical relationship with somebody, and it wasn't fulfilling enough for me. At least not emotionally or what I was really looking for. So I was just kind of looking for other ways to be a part of something without really. Well, I wanted more, but not really. It was a very difficult situation for me. And I actually went out on a date with my abuser before anything had happened. I was okay, wasn't very interested in dating him or seeing him beyond the 4 walls of my bedroom. That was it. I was not interested at all. But he was the first one that was let me take you on a date. So I was sure. And that was my first ever date. And so my first ever date was with my abuser. And half of the time it wasn't fun, and half of the time it was. And it's just, it was a weird place for me. And so, post-assault, my relationships with men have been very different and basically non-existent. When I was explaining to the guy I was exclusively seeing that this is what happened. I know we had agreed to be exclusive, but shit hit the fan. Didn't plan on it. And he was okay, I'm a little mad, but it is what it is. I'm sorry that happened to you. And I was giving myself that one last chance to try and see if I was okay to continue being physical with somebody as I'm coping with this, and it just did not work. And so I had to let that go. And I was really not interested in letting anybody in anymore, because I didn't want to have to explain my circumstances. I didn't want to have to explain yeah, so I'm not gonna fuck you because I am just not interested. I just don't want anybody to touch me, to be 100% honest. Don't want to be touched by anybody at all whatsoever. So this was fun and all, but no, this is it. And I just didn't want to have that conversation with people, so I kind of just pulled myself out of the dating game. It was over, it was done, and I was okay with that. And so, as more time went on, I really thought about, what led me to that point, and I realized that I was not valuing myself, therefore I was not going to be valued by anybody else around me, or at least the ones that I was trying to be romantically interested in. If they saw that I wasn't respecting myself, they weren't obviously going to respect me, which is very difficult to kind of grasp, but I kind of figured out that that was going to be my best bet, was to take care of myself first. So, we shifted to this self-care mode on myself, and it was all about getting myself back in just existing with other people and being comfortable being on campus again. And it was a really, really tough shift for me. And I realized that it was definitely not a journey I should have been doing alone. And I wasn't alone for the most part. I had people who were in my corner, but it just didn't feel like it was enough. So I spent a lot of my time writing and talking to my friends, and they were kind of getting tired of it. But this is one of those things that you never stop living. And those people that were tired of me talking about it, I had to get rid of them, because this is not something that I can just let go and move forward from and pretend like things are good and things are happy. So I had to recenter and refocus and reevaluate the people in my life and realize that they aren't going to be there for me in that capacity, and that's completely fine that they aren't able to. I'm not going to be mad at them for that. I kind of learned to realize that I have different people for different purposes, or at least that's what I've talked about with other friends, is that there are some people who I can talk about certain things with versus other people who I don't. And that's completely normal, and that's completely fine, and I shouldn't put that on them. Like, I can't be mad at them for that. But the people that I have specific purposes for, I have built those connections with them for that exact reason. And so it's about to be the 3-year anniversary of the assault in, I want to say, 3 weeks or so. Yeah, 3 weeks. And it's going to be hard for me. I feel like this whole month is so hard for me. Like, this is one of the worst, like, years. One of the worst, like, anniversary months I've dealt with in a really long time. I feel like this is, like, the darkest that it's been. And I'm so grateful to have the support system that I do have, who are very compassionate and very understanding, and who I've utilized in multiple facets. Whether it's talking through the suicidal thoughts versus people walking me to Title IX versus just being there for me and supporting me on a day-to-day basis, checking in on me. I think I'm very grateful for all these people in my life. And so, because it's 3 years, it's really hard for me to say that it's almost been 3 years since I've let people in, or at least romantically let people in. I'm still waiting to see if I still want to be romantically interested in people. Like, I've only recently started getting back into the dating world, I want to say. Not really, like, I have, like, my toe in, and then, like, I take it out, and I'm like, we'll see. But yeah, I'm not comfortable being with somebody physically just yet, I think is what I've figured out. I just haven't crossed that bridge with somebody yet, and I don't know how I'm going to react, and I need someone who is completely okay with me taking consent away at any given time. Like, saying, like, oh no, I can't do this no more. Like, this is bad. Like, I can't. And someone being comfortable, because I've only been with people who are like, no, like, let me keep pushing further. And that was something that I'm not comfortable with anymore. So I have to just rebuild these relationships with people and really establish a very open line of communication that I've never done before, at least in a romantic setting. And so with that, I've been trying to figure out if if the celibacy phase that I'm enduring is voluntary or involuntary. And I want to say it's a little bit of both. That I've took myself out of the dating game. I'm not interested in people. I'm not interested in being romantically involved with people versus, I mean, like, I kind of. Then, like, I get pulled into the, no, we're not doing this. So I don't know if celibacy has been voluntary or involuntary. I don't really know. Still figuring it out. Still figuring it out. And so, as of recently, I've been wanting to date people again, but I have this fear of repetition or repeating what happened, and that people are not comfortable with me taking away consent and me being like, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. Like, I can't. Like, I just don't, in my mind, think that that's capable of happening. Or at least I don't think I'm capable of finding people who are okay with that. I'm very weary about people crossing my boundaries, and I have many doubts, and I feel like finding that person who is accepting of that is very hard. Like, I'm gonna have to explain to whoever I'm potentially gonna be physical with, like, look, like, I might freak out, but who knows? No one really knows. I don't know myself. I've been very guarded about myself. Like, I've not been open to anybody touching me, not even in public, not even in at parties or at clubs or whatever. Like, I'm just so disinterested in people touching me in any sexual way that I'm just like, fear, fear, pure fear. And it sucks. And I wish I can, like, train myself to not be like this, but it's just my bodily reaction that I haven't, like, sorted through, I think, just yet. And so, at least right now, I'm afraid of learning how to refunction in the game again. Like, my social cues are out of whack. I don't know what it looks like when somebody's interested in me anymore. I don't think I've learned the social cues. It's nothing. Just blank. Just nothing goes through these, like, huh? You gotta use your words to write it, spell it out for me, because I'm not gonna get it. And so, this kind of leads me into re-entering the dating world. And so I told myself that I was done with not, what am I talking about? Online dating apps, because that's where I met my abuser, was through Tinder. And so I was like, no, we're not doing this, not anymore. But I've learned with time comes with experience and understanding and the willingness to forgive certain things. And so I've learned that different apps have different purposes. Like, Tinder is just for hookups. We all know this. This is water is wet, sky is blue. Tinder is for hooking up versus Bumble, which is giving women the opportunity to swipe on men and talk to them first, to initiate the conversation with them if they are that interested in them. And so I like that power of not having to be harassed by men on Tinder. But Bumble is also, I think, kind of nerve-wracking, because I think sometimes I'm a little weird for a lot of people. And it's not that I say weird things to them. It's just that there's social anxiety that I have, and it's all timer based, and it sucks. I think I'm just like, I think my true purpose of using or being on Bumble is to just, like, see what's out there, see what's available and what's out there, because I'm just not interested in getting to know people in person, like meeting people in bars, because that's the only place I'm at, is like bars, clubs, or I'm really just with my friends, not interested in talking to other people. Like, I don't go out places to socialize with others. I go out to socialize with my friends, which is pretty lonely now that I think about it. But I think I'm in this point in my life where I'm okay with that. And maybe give it some time. Maybe I might be more open and accepting to talk to other people, but just right now I'm not. My relationship with men has been very complicated within the past 3 years, and I think it'll continue to be complicated as time goes on. But I'm not mad, and I'm not disappointed, not in myself or others. I think just with time comes with being more open to the idea and really slowly but surely testing the waters, I think is the way that I'm going to have to go with this. And I think this is a very interesting episode that we are going to have, or that we just had. And it's going to be interesting to look back at these podcasts and really listen to where I was at this point in my life versus where I'm going to be in the future. But yeah, this was all about a very interesting topic. And thank you for listening. Bye, y'all.